तपोवनादिगमनम् हत्वा मृगं काञ्चनम् वैदेही हरणम् जटायुमरणम् सुग्रीव सम्भाषणम् वाली निर्दलनम् समुद्रतरणम् लङ्कापुरीदाहनम् पश्चाद्रावण कुम्भकर्णहननम् एतद्धि रामायणम् एतद्धि रामायणम् एतद्धि रामायणम् एतद्धि रामायणम् एतद्धि रामायणम् एतद्धि रामायणम्.
Vishwamitra, Ram and Lakshman, all three were walking on their way. Soon they reached a thick, dense forest. It was afternoon, but the thick trees of the forest made the atmosphere so dark that not even a single ray of light could reach the ground. In the forest, wild animals were freely roaming here and there. The frightening noises of wild animals and birds could be heard. At certain places, the hissing of snakes and reptiles could also be heard. In this thick forest, Ram asked innocently, "Why is the forest so horrifying, Guruji? Why are there no people here?" Vishwamitra replied, "Ram, it was not a forest earlier. This was a wealthy and prosperous state. But a man-eating monstrous named Tratika devastated the state. Tratika and her son Marich both were man-eaters, and because of them, the human population of this state was finished. Gradually, this state was destroyed. After some time, a forest began to grow here, which was called Dandakaranya. It is believed that Tratika still lives here with her son, Marich. Ram, both of them cause a lot of disturbance in my yagnas and other holy deeds. Kill Tratika and make your state prosperous again." Sri Ram asked, "But Guruji, killing a woman? It is not right. Killing a woman is believed to be a great offense, isn't it?" "Somehow it doesn't seem right." Vishwamitra replied instantly, "Ram, for the welfare of mankind, it is right." Then, seeing Ram in a doubtful frame of mind, Vishwamitra again said, "Tratika is a monstrous in the guise of a woman. A monstrous. She has killed men, women, children, aged and sages. In such a situation, not killing her would be unfair and an injustice. Ram, being a prince, you are eligible to kill her. You are the only one who can kill her." Ram understood Just then, they began to hear the sound of thunder. The sound of loud laughter could be heard. Though it was afternoon, the darkness gave the impression of night. After this, a female monster with a gigantic body stood across their way. Her white long teeth came out of her mouth. Her eyes were blazing red, and there was a glimpse of demonic evil in them. Her nails were long and sharp, like a tiger's claws. The sight of her was intimidating. Listening to her cruel laughter, even the birds flew away. On hearing her voice, even wild animals like lions and tigers would run and hide behind trees or hide inside their caves. Ram and Lakshman both were very brave men. But seeing the cruel, monstrous look of Tratika, even they stood amazed and pondered for a moment. Vishwamitra understood their condition. He said, Ram and Lakshman, this is the elusive monstrous. Her name is Tratika. She has killed all the innocent people traveling through this forest. She disguises herself as people or animals. Then she makes the travelers passing by the forest lose their way. Later, she kills them and eats their flesh and drinks their blood. You have seen her horrifying look, haven't you, Ram? As to how I shall kill a woman, don't even bring that thought to your mind. Ram, kill her without any hesitation. For protecting innocent people and holy practices, killing such a woman is not an offense against your religion. While Vishwamitra was saying all this, the monstress laughed loudly. And her mouth started watering. And her thirst for blood was kindled. With a loud thumping noise made by her heavy steps, she started running here and there. Due to her heavy steps, the clouds of dust rose higher. The earth started trembling. The atmosphere became dust-laden. Even she was not clearly visible to those three people. She started lifting big stones and threw it at them. Ram shot his arrows at her arms, and both her arms got detached from her body. Now she became more furious and more destructive. And Lakshman came forward, shot his arrows, which pierced Tratika's nose and ears. As Lakshman did this, she disguised herself into several elusive forms. Seeing all this, Vishwamitra alerted Ram and said, Ram, before the sun sets, you will have to kill her. Otherwise, during the night, her powers will increase to a greater extent. Just then, Ram took out the most powerful arrow and aimed it at Tratika's chest. There was a violent flash of lightning, and with a sudden scream, Tratika's horrifying body fell down. It felt like a huge tree fell down with a loud bang. On Tratika's death, all the demigods felt happy. Seeing Ram's bravery and accurate archery, Vishwamitra felt contentment. He hugged Ram and Lakshman and blessed them and patted them on their backs. Ram, Lakshman and Vishwamitra. These three were present at Raja Janak's assembly. Raja Janak welcomed them with great pleasure. Raja Janak himself came to the Swayamvar Mandap to receive them. In that Mandap, Kings, princes, sages, saints, and many reputed people from the towns were seated. The gleaming gems studding the crowns of the kings and princes were spreading their brilliance everywhere. Beautiful chandeliers were hanging from the ceilings. Melodious tunes were being played on various instruments. At the center of the mandap, the big bow of Lord Parshuram was placed. Looking towards the bow, Raja Janak said, "This is Lord Parshuram's bow. Lord Shankar has gifted this to Lord Parshuram." Once Lord Parshuram came to me with this bow. That time, my daughter, little Sita, thought it to be a horse and started playing with it. On seeing this incident, Lord Parshuram suggested an idea for my daughter's wedding. He said, "Whoever will lift this bow and put an arrow to it, that person will marry my daughter." After hearing Raja Janak's words, all the kings and princes present in the mandap became disappointed. They started thinking that, how will we lift this big bow? Everybody was thinking this and kept quiet. Seeing this, Raja Janak felt very much surprised. He said, "What happened? Why is nobody coming forward?" On hearing this, Lanka's king Ravana got up and said in a thundering voice, "Why not? The king of Lanka is here. I will put the arrow to this bow." Ravana came forward and stood before the bow with his great ego. He examined the bow very carefully. He tried to lift the bow with a single hand, but what is this? The bow was fixed at its place. Ravana became exhausted in his attempts. He again made another try. This time he planned to lift the bow in any case. But there was a surprise, and he fell down in the attempt, and blood started flowing out of his nose, and he got injuries on several parts of his body. As he fell down, he started crying, "Save me! Save me! Somebody please come forward and lift this bow from my body!" If the powerful Ravan was reduced to this, one can well imagine what the fate of the other kings in the assembly would be. Janak had a merciful thought. He ordered his servants to remove the bow from the body of Ravana. Ravana got up. Who will come forward now after seeing such a disgraceful fate of Ravana? Janak stood up at his place to say something. Before he starts to say anything, Vishwamitra ordered Ram to go forward and lift the bow. Ram got up immediately. He paid a salute to Vishwamitra and stood near the bow in great humility. First of all, he saluted that bow, and then, within no time, he picked up the bow in his hand with great ease and started to put an arrow in it. But what is this? The huge bow had broken into pieces with a great bang. It divided into two. Seeing Sri Ram's heroic act, all present in the assembly began to applaud him with great joy. Ravana felt very insulted. Raja Janak was overjoyed. Even Sita was smiling. She slowly came forward very modestly and offered a garland to Ram. Sita selected Ram as a husband. Ram also did the same and garlanded her. After this, Raja Janak invited Raja Dashrath and all of his queens to attend the marriage ceremony. When they reached there, the marriage took place with great pomp and style. Once upon a time, a demon called Marish disguised himself as a golden deer under the orders of Ravana and then started grazing in front of Ram's hut in the forest. Sita happened to come out of the hut. She then saw the golden deer. She had never seen such a beautiful golden deer. A completely golden deer was grazing in front of her. Its entire body shone like the brilliance of the sun. It gazed at Sita through those large, watery eyes. Having been captivated by this golden deer, Sita told Ram, "Somehow or the other, I want you to get me this beautiful deer. If I could only get his beautiful skin, I could make my dress. How nice it would be. I don't know how, but I want this golden deer at any cost." Ram said to Sita, "Don't be silly. How can there be a deer made of gold? I think this is an illusion of a demon in the form of a deer." But Sita was not ready to listen to anything. She was adamant. At last, Ram felt compelled to go in order to fulfill her desire. Ram followed the deer slowly. When the deer saw Ram coming towards him, the deer started running and finally reached a dense forest. Seeing the deer running, Ram also began to run behind the deer, and it kept going, and finally he lost his way in the dense forest. You know what happened next? There was a voice from the forest. "Hey Sita! Hey Lakshman! Run! Run! Save me! Save me!" This voice was echoing throughout the forest. Sita heard the sound and she was afraid. She thought that Sri Ram was caught in some kind of trouble. So she immediately told Lakshman to go to the forest and search for Ram. "I think Ram is hurt. Brother! Why are you standing idle? Hurry up and go into the forest. Help Ram. Surely he's in some kind of trouble." Hearing this, Lakshman was silent for a moment and said to Sita, "Mate, you need not worry about my brother. This is not Sri Ram's voice. This must be the elusive demon's voice. No power on earth can hurt our Sri Ram. Please don't worry. Take rest. I'm his younger brother. If he were in danger, would I be sitting quiet?" Hearing this from Lakshman, Sita got furious. Sita said to Lakshman, "How can you call yourself a younger brother when you cannot even help your own elder brother who's caught in a problem? You are committing a great sin." Lakshman was hurt with these words. So he said, "Okay, I'll go help Sri Ram." He drew a line outside the hut with the help of his arrow and told Sita, "Mate, I'm going to help Ram, but there is one request from me, that you do not at any cost cross this line and go beyond it." Sita agreed to what Lakshman said, and then Lakshman proceeded toward the forest in search of Ram. Lakshman was running through the forest and searching here and there when he saw Sri Ram coming towards him. Lakshman asked Ram, "Brother, did you get the golden deer?" Ram told him, "What golden deer are you talking about? That was an elusive demon. I've killed him. But you tell me something. How have you come here leaving my Sita alone there?" Lakshman told the whole story to Ram. Listening to this, Ram said, "Oh Lakshman, what have you done? You have committed a great mistake. A great mistake. Whatever it may be, you shouldn't have left Sita alone. This forest is full of cruel demons and monsters. She has no one except us. In this situation, if some demon or some cruel monster came over there to harass her, what would we do? Go, Lakshman, go. Let's get there immediately." Both reached the ashram, but unfortunately, Ram's suspicion was true. Sita was not in the ashram. When Lakshman had gone to find Ram in the forest, at that time, Ravana was hiding behind the bushes. As Lakshman left, Ravana disguised himself as an old sage and came out. Very cautiously, he went and stood before the ashram door. He came even closer to the ashram, looked here and there, and in a thundering voice, he asked for his arm. Give me alms! My... Sita came out to give him alms. Just then she remembered the words of Lakshman. Mate, whatever happens, don't cross this line. She quickly stepped behind. She gave the alms from a distance. Seeing this, Ravana became furious. He told Sita, "Is this any way to give us alms, Mai? If you want to give alms, then come forward and give it to me properly, or else I'll go empty-handed without the alms. But remember one thing, if you do this, you will be committing a great sin. You will never be blessed. You'll never be happy." Hearing Ravana's words, Sita got worried. She told Ravana, "Don't be so angry. I've made a mistake." And Sita came forward, crossing the line to give the alms. And then Ravana came back to his original form. He quickly lifted up Sita, put her over his shoulder, and took her to Lanka in his flying chariot. Sita started crying and was calling Sri Ram loudly. Now Ravana was feeling very happy. When she was calling Ram loudly, at that time Ravana laughed and said, "Why are you shouting like this, Sita? Now there is no use of it. All the demigods in the universe are my slaves. Slaves! Kailashpati Shankar himself has specially blessed me. That Rama, poor Rama, cannot do any harm to me. He was much too proud of his own strength." You know what happened next? A big bird named Jatayu tried to save Sita by attacking Ravana's flying chariot. He wanted to damage as much of the chariot as possible with his sharp beak. Ravana got angry. He immediately attacked Jatayu with his sword. And poor Jatayu lost one of his wings. He fell down to the earth, severely wounded. Poor Jatayu felt very bad that he could not save Sita. Ravana took her to Lanka in his flying chariot. In the meanwhile, Ram and Lakshman got tired in their search for Sita, but could not find any solution. By now, Ram felt helpless. He asked Lakshman, "Will I ever get my Sita back?" "Lakshman, can you tell me what to do?" Seeing the plight of poor Ram, Lakshman said, "Brother, there is no need to worry like this. We can bring Sita back right now." But Ram was not satisfied with this assurance. All the birds and animals of the forest surrounded their hut, and they all looked towards the south. From this, Lakshman got an idea and told Ram, "Why are these creatures all looking towards the southern direction?" Ram looked in that direction, and he then stood up. He said to Lakshman that it's possible that somebody must have abducted Sita and gone in that direction. Ram started to hunt for Sita in that direction along with Lakshman. On their way, he saw some faded flowers on the branch of a tree. This reminded Ram of Sita, and he said to Lakshman, "Hey Lakshman, it was only yesterday that I'd given these flowers to Sita. How come they are here now?" Ram was very upset by this. They travelled a little further, and he saw some of Sita's ornaments on the ground. Ram was confident that Sita had gone from this route. "I'm sure that somebody has taken her in this direction." On the way, they saw the wounded Jatayu. Seeing this bird, Ram suspected that this bird had definitely killed his Sita, so he took his bow and arrow, aimed it at Jatayu. But poor Jatayu pleaded with Ram, "Hey Ram, Monster Ravan is responsible for my condition. He was taking Sita in his chariot in that direction. When I saw it, I felt extremely sad. I attacked Ravan, but he cut off my wing with a sword, and he went towards Lanka, taking Sita with him." Jatayu breathed his last after saying these words. Ram's eyes filled with tears. He praised his bravery, and then they collected leaves and wood from the nearby forest and put Jatayu's body on a pyre. Once again, they started to hunt for Sita. The town of Kishkinda, near the river Pampa, was ruled by monkeys. Two brothers, Bali and Sugriv, had a dispute over their kingdom. Bali was much stronger than Sugriv. He was so strong that one fine day he caught Ravana and tied him to his son's cradle to play. Bali took the kingdom forcefully from Sugriv. Sugriv was kind and just in his nature. His friends Nal, Neel, Maruti and others were also staying with him. A monkey named Maruti was very powerful and intelligent. Maruti means god of power. He was son of Marut, who was the god of air. Thus he got the name Maruti. His mother's name was Anjani. They were gods of heaven. But due to a curse by a sage, they were born in the form of monkeys on earth. Raja Dashrath of Ayodhya was performing yagna to get a son. When the yagna was complete, God was so pleased with Raja Dashrath that he gave him a boon as prasad. Raja handed over this prasad to his queens. An eagle stole some of this prasad. While flying in the sky, the eagle crossed over Rishimukh mountain. Anjani was performing a tap on this mountain. While flying, the eagle dropped some of the prasad in Anjani's hand. Anjani opened her eyes and had that prasad. After some time, Anjani gave birth to a son. He was named Maruti. At the same time, the sun was shining brightly in the sky. Maruti saw the sun and mistook it for a red flower. He jumped into the air and swallowed that sun. Indra was very upset to see this. Indra threw his weapon and it struck Maruti in the chin. Maruti fell down unconscious. Seeing this, the god of the air got angry. All the demigods made the god of air understand and gave various boons to Maruti. Due to this, Maruti got more strength and intelligence. After this, he was made commander of Sugriv's army. All of them were living on the Rishimukh mountain. Once, while they were wandering, Ram and Lakshman reached that same mountain. Maruti asked Ram about his life. Ram told him the whole story. Then Maruti felt a great sense of devotion towards Ram in his heart. Maruti helped Sugriv and Rama become friends. Ram promised to help in the killing of the monster Bali and to hand over the kingdom of Kishkinda to Sugriv. And in return, Sugriv would extend his help to Ram in killing Ravana and bringing back Sita from Lanka. This pact was agreed upon and there was happiness all around. The battle started between Sugriv and Bali. Ram killed Bali and helped Sugriv in this war, and Sugriv got back his kingdom of Kishkinda. Maruti had the responsibility of searching for Sita. He started his journey towards Lanka. He found a huge sea on the way. To cross over that sea, he made himself larger and crossed the sea and directly landed in Lanka with the force of the air. There he searched for Sita, but he was wandering in a tiny size. At the palace of Ravana, he saw a beautiful woman who was sleeping on a beautiful bed. She was very beautiful. Maruti thought perhaps she might be Sita. On seeing that woman, Maruti was so happy he did somersaults and he lifted his tail. He was jumping around and playing like a child. But later on, Maruti began wondering, how can this woman be Sita? What was Sita like during the exile? Why would she leave Sri Ram and live in Ravana's palace? Why was she all dressed up in such a way? She couldn't be Sita. She was Ravana's wife Mandodari. Maruti immediately left the palace. While searching for Sita, he reached Ashok Vatika. There, under a tree, a sad woman was seated. She was chanting the name of Lord Ram. She was surrounded on all four sides by witches. Maruti climbed a tree and he threw Sri Ram's ring before her. Seeing that ring, Sita was amazed. She thought, how did this ring come here? Is my Lord Sri Ram all right? She stared at the ring, and Maruti slowly got down from the tree. Joining both his hands, he said, Mate, I'm Sri Ram's servant. Your Lord is fine. He will soon come here, kill that cruel Ravana, and release you. Please don't worry. Sita said, Maruti, you must be tired. Maruti said, Mate, I'm not tired, but while finding you in Lanka, I had to work very hard, and therefore I'm feeling very hungry. May I eat the fruits of this Ashok forest? Sita replied, yes, you can, but remember one thing. Eat only those fruits that have fallen off the tree. Don't pluck them. Maruti obeyed Sita's instructions. And then Maruti started shaking all the trees in the forest one by one. He uprooted many trees. He shook some trees by tying his tail to them. When all the fruits fell down, he ate them all. In this way, the whole Ashok forest was destroyed. When Ravana heard about this, he turned red in anger. He ordered his servants to go and bring Hanuman. Go and bring that monkey before me. I want him found at any cost. First of all, 100 soldiers went, then 200. Later, 500 soldiers went, and finally 1,000 soldiers went to arrest Maruti. But they could not catch him. In fact, he killed Ravana's son Akshaya and thousands of other demons. A horrible fight broke out. Seeing Maruti's bravery, Ravana became red hot with anger. But Ravana's strong and powerful son Indrajit used his special powerful Brahmastra and caught Maruti. He tied up Maruti and brought him before Ravana. Ravana gave an order of setting Maruti's tail on fire. What other punishment will be better than this one for a monkey messenger? Maruti's tail was being wrapped by a cloth, but to everyone's surprise, it grew a foot long. Then more cloth was brought, and again the tail was wrapped. Then even more cloth was brought, and once again the tail was wrapped. But now the tail grew 2 feet long. Then every piece of cloth in Lanka was wrapped on the tail. But again, Maruti's tail grew 3 feet long. When the people of Lanka had no more cloth, Maruti's tail grew 4 feet long. Then Maruti felt sorry and he stopped growing his tail. Every drop of oil and ghee in Lanka was brought on carts, and nothing was left. All the demons got tired while trying to burn his tail by puffing, but the fire wouldn't break out. Finally, Ravan became furious. He decided to puff on his tail, and it burst into flame, and it burnt his moustache very badly. With his tail on fire, Maruti flew into the sky and went from one rooftop to another, setting all the houses in Lanka on fire. In a few seconds, the golden city of Lanka had burst into flames. Everywhere, people were crying for help. Ravan's arrogance was in ruins. The subjects of Ravan cursed him. Maruti came to the seashore and put his burning tail into the water. From there, he went back to Sri Ram. He saluted Ram and told him everything that happened. Ram looked at him with pride in his eyes. Ram, Lakshman, Sugriv, Maruti and an army of innumerous monkeys started preparation to attack Lanka and bring back Mata Sita. The war between Ram and Ravana was on. Ram killed 2 monsters of Ravana's army, namely Ahi and Mahi. All the monkeys were happy to see these 2 dead, as they were creating a lot of problems in Ram's army. Hanuman himself helped in killing these monsters. All the monkeys started shouting and singing praises and slogans in praise of brave Hanuman. After the death of Ahi and Mahi, Ravana called each and every one of the monsters, and attacked Ram's army collectively. But Ram himself was present in front of his army and gave a fitting response to each and every attack. The monsters were helpless against Ram, and the killings were continued. Then Ravana itself came to fight, riding on a chariot. Ravana was a brave and expert fighter. The sky trembled with his arrows. There was nothing lacking in the monkey army. At the same time, the gallantry of Lakshman was put to the test. He insulted Ravana very rudely. Ravana's powers to kill Lakshman began to weaken. But he still was determined to kill Lakshman. He was very unhappy. He said, "I have the perfect solution to fix Lakshman." Ravana was a strict follower of Shiva. After chanting Shiva's mantra, he threw the most powerful weapon at Lakshman. It had extraordinary power. Lakshman fell down unconscious with his attack. Ravana was very happy. People started praising Ravana and the war was stopped for the day. The news of Lakshman's fainting was spread like a fire by the monkey army. Everybody was worried. The monkeys brought Lakshman to the Parankuti of Ram. Ram saw the condition of his younger brother and said, "My brave Lakshman is lying unconscious. He shows no sign of activity. His wounds are bleeding badly." Ram called him, but there was no reply. Is Lakshman no more? Wondered Ram, and he began to cry. His heart was heavy with grief. The whole army of monkeys was upset. There was sadness everywhere. Then Vaidyaraj arrived. His name was Vaidyaraj Shushen. He patiently calmed everybody and examined Lakshman. While he was examining Lakshman, he smiled politely. He said, "Lakshman is not dead. He's alive. His heart is beating. He has become unconscious only due to his wounds." Ram asked, "But will Lakshman be all right?" Vaidyaraj said, "Of course, certainly. I will treat him. But somebody has to do one job." "Please tell me, Vaidyaraj. I'll do anything for the sake of Lakshman," Hanuman said, standing nearby. A herb named Sanjeevani is required to make some medicine. But this herb is found in the far north in the Himalayan region at Dronagiri mountain. Now it's evening, but tomorrow before sunrise it should reach here. This job is difficult. Is there anybody ready? Who is the brave person? Tell me, Vaidyaraj asked. The son of the air, Hanuman, said, "I'm ready." Vaidyaraj said, "All right." He was very happy. Vaidyaraj made him understand the route to Dronagiri and about the herb. Hanuman held his hands upright and flew into the sky. On the way to Dronagiri, he did not want to forget the name of the herb. That's why he was repeating again and again, "Sanjeevani, Vishalya Karni, Savarna Karni, Divya Aushadhi, Sanjeevani." He flew fast in the sky and reached the Himalayan region quickly. He saw Dronagiri mountain as told by Vaidyaraj. He landed at the peak of Dronagiri and started a search for that herb. But what was the name? He forgot. Now what to do? No delay was possible. Before sunrise, he had to come back again. Hanuman began thinking as to how he'd ever get back in time. He thought of a trick. He had so much physical power. He took out the mountain and kept it on his hand and started his return journey. He returned back before sunrise. Here everybody was anxiously waiting for him. But everybody was amazed to see that he had uprooted the peak of Dronagiri. He had so much strength. Vaidyaraj said, "Hanuman, You were sent to bring a herb, but you have brought a full mountain. Hanuman said, I forgot the name of the herb. I was not able to remember. So I brought the complete mountain. Now, whatever you want, take it from here. Vaidyarashushin climbed the mountain quickly and plucked the Sanjeevani herb. He prepared medicine and a dose was given to Lakshman. In a short while, Lakshman opened his eyes. Gradually, he became conscious. Sri Ram was very close to him. Lakshman called, Brother, brother, and Ram was very happy. Lakshman became conscious. Ram embraced him. Looking at the scene, Hanuman had tears in his eyes. Tears of joy. Everybody was full of joy. A very big disaster was avoided from Ram's army. The army of monkeys started preparing for the next day with a new zeal and new encouragement. Kumbhakarna was killed in war. Indrajit was also killed. At last, Ravana gathered his remaining demon army and ordered them, Go and attack Ram's army. Destroy them. Ravana attacked the monkey army with all his weapons and all his soldiers. But the monkey army was also ready with their weapons, stones, swords, gada and trees. And so fierce a war began between the two armies. Sri Ram increased his ability of archery, shooting his arrows so efficiently and quickly that nobody could make out when he picked up an arrow and when he shot it. When Ravana saw Sri Ram's bravery, he himself felt surprised. At last, the demon army ran away from the battlefield. Then Ravana came forward riding on his divine chariot. His gallantry was unique. Several arrows shot by him hindered the sunlight. There were arrows everywhere. The monkey army was still fighting bravely. Then Ravana saw Lakshman. Lakshman insulted Ravana a lot. Ravana said, Stop, Lakshman. You're insulting me. Now get ready to face me. As Ravana said this, he shot a powerful divine arrow towards Lakshman. Lakshman got wounded and fell unconscious in the battlefield. Ravana returned back to Lanka in a victorious mood. The next day, Ravana came to the battlefield angry as ever. Ram and Ravana fought fiercely. There was a great devastation after this war. The demigods gathered in the sky and were looking over the war. The remaining demon army and monkey army were astonished. The art of war was seen of the warriors at the battlefield. Then Ram chopped off the head of Ravana. But to everyone's surprise, a new head of Ravana appeared. Every time a new head appeared in place of the previous one. This was very surprising. Sri Ram continued to destroy Ravana's heads. Then Ram thought that perhaps his arrows had lost their power. Just then Vibhishan came and told Ram the secret of Ravan's death. So Ram took out his Brahmastra, prayed before it, and shot it at Ravan. Ravan's body burst and a stream of holy water started flowing out. Ravana fell down to the earth and died. Thus, the greatest demon of the world was dead. The monkey army praised Sri Ram. the praises and applauses of Sri Ram echoed in all three lokas. Jai Sri Ram, Jai Sri Ram, Jai Sri Ram, Jai Sri Ram, Jai Sri Ram.
आदौ राम तपोवनादिगमनम् हत्वा मृगं काञ्चनम् वैदेही हरणम् जटायुमरणम् सुग्रीव सम्भाषणम् वाली निर्दलनम् समुद्रतरणम् लङ्कापुरी दाहनम्